Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
Smile. It's just a bad day, not a bad life. I googled what is the meaning of life and on my phone, and shocking, I was surprised. I thought I was going to get a lot of answers, and to my surprise, it was just them being vague and asking questions and kind of rephrasing the question, oh, what is the significance of life? And, I think, we're at a point now where people are everybody's afraid to say something. And I think a lot of it is because everybody doesn't want to be judged. That could have something to do with it. But I was at Chapman University, and I was I needed something, so I went into the office and I talked to the girl behind the desk. And she didn't have what I needed, so she called somebody, and she didn't have to. She could have told me to go pound sand. So and then she called somebody else, and she wound up getting an answer. It kind of fixed my problem. But the point is, she didn't have to do any of that. And I just told her, I go, hey, I do appreciate it. I go, most people would not do that. And she could take that for whatever. Maybe she appreciated the compliment. Maybe she just rolled her eyes and said, just please, just leave me alone. But whatever it is, that little gift, she had to work for it, and she had the same amount of time as anybody else, and as people that have done things in the past where they don't give you an ounce of their energy. And guess what? They don't get a gift. And ironically, I was walking through the halls of the university, and they had a film playing, nice TV, one of these movies that nobody ever watches. So I was watching it, and there was a lady, her name, last name is O'Connor, and I forget her first name, and she helped her son, her son, I guess she was getting an honorary doctorate, and her son just graduated, and he got a PhD, I think, and he couldn't have done that without her, so they give her the honorary degree, this last graduation, and one of my questions was, when was their school year ending? I forgot, and I guess that answered my question. She went up on stage, and what it is, her son was injured. I don't know if he's a paraplegic or quadriplegic, and he couldn't do all the work and everything, because he takes all the motor skills and all that. So she would go to the classrooms and do everything, and that was part of her reward, her little nugget that she got. And I'm sure she got some throughout the day, even though, not the day, one day, and then she got a PhD. No, throughout her days of doing this, months, probably years, and also moving forward, she's going to get that, but it is because of her hard work, and I'm sure she didn't feel like doing it a lot of times, but she stuck it out. And I think that when you talk about what's the meaning of life, and some people will say, oh, yeah, it's to get, Lamborghini, park it in front of my Italian cottage with the, armed guards and just have great Facebook parties, and the rest is history. Well, you talk to people that have done that, and the wealthy people that I know, there's kind of a secret, and they enjoy their life, their wealth. It's true. Money, it buys happiness. For about 2 years, I think, is what the average is. Yeah, they're happy, or at least they think they're happy. They're full of joy. They're enjoying their life. But then you get used to it. And, like anything else, if you eat, and let's say you go out to a nice restaurant every day, you start to get used to that restaurant, and now you start to expect it just to be normal. You have to eat somewhere nice at that restaurant. And the guy that does not go to a nice restaurant often, and these days it's me, when I do go, and most of it's because I'm busy, and then the other part of it is it gets expensive. It's you really appreciate it, and it's like, wait a minute, if like pulling a rubber band back, and the more tension you pull, the harder you have to pull. When you let it go, you're getting more out of it. And I think by waiting to go to these things, it does pay dividends. So in any event, those small little nuggets that we talk about, like you're helping people, you're doing things, those things never get old. And unless you're what is it, Steve Harvey, and you're just inundated all the time with people bugging you. But I think even then, a lot of times you're just bothered because people want to, because you have a namesake for yourself, and they want to glom off of you. So it's a different kind of satisfaction. People bothering you. We all know the infamous email that was, or letter that he sent out to everybody and said, hey, stop bothering me. Don't talk to me in the hallways. If you're reading this means you. And, so yeah, maybe, giving him thanks isn't the best thing to do. But I know that there is still places where he looks for thanks. But right now he's probably overwhelmed. But these people, they have a career, and when that career winds down, a lot of them just miss being significant. You don't want to be bothered all the time, but you do want to be, for the people that you do love, you do want to be appreciated. And then also you want to, you don't want to be heard of being, oh yeah, that guy's a has-been. And I think that'll cut through your heart too, just as much. So, these, getting the fame and the fortune isn't necessarily okay. Now you're happy, and now you found the meaning of life, because all that stuff that's all cyclical too. That will all wind down. So I guess when I'm going through my life, I am kind of always having that servant's heart, that people talk about. And I'm used to it. I could do it. It's no problem for me, just because I've been doing it a long time. And I do appreciate when people pick up on it and they appreciate it. That's not my reasoning behind it, but it does kind of give you the energy and the boost. You talk to any comedian, and they say, oh, when they go in front of a crowd and they tell jokes, or they're an actor and they're in a movie and they hear the crowd laugh, they'll say they're hooked, just because they love hearing that laughter. And I almost kind of look at it as like, okay, I'm a comedian, except for I'm not funny, but I am going through this life trying to hear thanks. And you're like, what do you mean? You're just doing it for the reward? No, because if you plan out thinking, okay, I'm doing this because how do I get thanks? I help people. Well, you could, even if you don't like doing it, even if you start doing it for the thanks, I think you will be moved by people's gratitude, and that will make it to where you want to do it. You will start helping people all the time, and or just throwing compliments and I guess basically being a good person. And good is hard because you have a lot of people that are good just because they want to get something in return. So even it's like that saying that show. It's what is it? And Inspector Clouseau or whatever, and he says, "Hey." Somebody walks up to him and says, "Hey," he walked up to somebody and said, "Does your dog bite?" And he said, "No." And so he went to pet the dog, and the dog bit him, and he said, "Oh, I thought you said your dog doesn't bite." And he said, "Yeah, he doesn't, but this is not my dog." And the thing of it is, we've been bit by so many people. Just they're talking to you. What do you want? It's another Amway salesman at a birthday party. You already start to stiff arm this person. So there is that thing, and I don't know if I told this story. I was had a coupon for like 20% off at Denny's, and I was just going through Denny's leaving, and I'm like, "Hey," I think I told the story anyway. "Hey, anybody want a coupon?" And they were just like, grabbing their kids and pretty much clutching their pearls if they had one, and just like, how could you, and you could just feel the resistance. And so I left, and then people tracked me down and said, "Oh yeah, about that coupon, can I have it?" And it's just, well, they're just so used to just, yeah, here's a coupon for, give me $5 or sign up here, or just a weirdo, and maybe they're right, but point is, you give somebody literally, it's like giving somebody money, and they're like, "Hey, no, I'm good." I think the way we're all wired is you have to work for it. And on another note, that's why cults do so well, religious cults, is because we all want to be rewarded with something. We want to work. And when the biggest problems that Christianity has is we're like, "Hey, it's a free gift." And people are like, "Hey, no, no thanks, I don't want it." Not to get over religious, but and I think there's a lot to that. People feel better when they work, and so I think that's why it's more fulfilling when you're helping somebody out, you're doing something, and then they're like, "Oh, thank you," versus the famous person that is just being thanked because they're famous. I think if you talk to somebody that speaks for a living, let's say somebody does seminars, and you thank them because they changed their life, well, that's different. That's not because you have 1,000 posts or 1,000 followers or 100,000 followers, and now people just want to glom onto you. No, in that case, they did work. The speaker did work, and now you're thanking them for that. You're appreciating for it, and let's face it, if they didn't love doing that, they would not have started doing that. Because anybody that gets into the business of, helping people, however they do it, typically it's not because of money. And I shouldn't say help, because we're all helping people. I mean, the trash man's helping people by emptying their trash. But when it's more of an emotional thing that they have to get into that they wouldn't normally get into, you think whether it's the self-help gurus or the people that do the tours, psychologists, they write their books, and the money can only take you so far because they can all get into another industry. But I think they get addicted to that helping people, and there's a return. And you could look at that as a bad thing, but the ends justify the means. Who cares? I think you can't let it be an idol in your life, and you're just, all you want to do is be thanked all the time. And then, okay, now you're just focused on that. You still need to focus on the person. The reason why is you got to be effective. But it's to be effective, you do have to do your best, and focus on you a little bit too, and what you're doing. And it starts to, for me, it's maybe a byproduct is, okay, now this person is helped. You just go around and help people no matter what. And you'll never hear me say, oh, I'm too tired to help somebody. If somebody has a question about God and they want to go on for 45 minutes, I'm never gonna say, oh, I'm not